Good evening, Hampton University and supporters. I am Calvin Harris, and welcome to our first Hampton University Blue Table Talk. Today is going to be very exciting, so we're so glad that you are joining us on today. But first, let me introduce my co-host, as you all know, Miss Megan Hill.
Hello, everybody out there, Hampton Hugs, and welcome to our Blue Table Talks. Just like Mr. Harris said, I am Megan Hill. I am the Certified Health Education Specialist through the Health Center. And I know you guys see me all the time, right? But this time we have some visitors with us today, some very, very special guests, as you can see. And I am going to go through and introduce them, but then I'll let them say a little bit about themselves as well. So first we have Mr. Clyde Etter of the Office of Intramural Sports.
Welcome. Hello.
Then we have Dr. Christy Norwood, the Director of the Student Counseling Center.
Good evening, everyone.
And then we have our very own Miss, Dr. Excuse me, I apologize. Dr. Barbara Lesore Emmett. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And I am Barbara Emmett. But you call me whatever you want. Make sure my check is good.
All right.
Right.
So on today, we are so blessed to have you all join us today. We're going to have an authentic conversation about the growing pains of life. Looking at life after college, whether we're talking about your friendships, your relationships, your just things going on with yourself, and we're also going to look at love and relationships down the line as well as marital status and things like that. Today's conversation comes from a book by Valerie Burden called Happy Women Live Better. And we're looking at the life cycles of growing up, whether a Black woman now is looking at the efforts of her job, career, education, then finding on later on in life that she's turned 35, 40 and never found love or had children. Whereas our Black men are getting an education, but their focus is more on family, love, success, and then providing later on. So as things shift, we have a lot of successful African American women who might have felt as though they missed their mate early on in life because now they're at a certain level and the man that their dreams is not in arm's reach, or somebody that, some people don't want to date people in their office space. Let's keep it real. That can be risky. Whereas men, where men are kind of ambitious, they definitely have their life struggles, but they can date women above their income and not really think about it, or they can date women less than their income and not really think about it, but they're looking more on different things like that. But we also want to focus in on how to cope with the growing pains of life, having a well-balanced life so that understanding that, yes, you can still be successful, but after 5, still have a life. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we are today. So first, we're going to just kick it off, and if everybody could just share with us a brief introduction to also include your current relationship status, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'm Christy Norwood, and I'm the director of the Student Counseling Center here at Hampton. I also teach a class in the Department of Psychology. I have been married for 10 years, and I have a 3-year-old and a little one on the way.
Oh,
Congratulations.
You learned a whole lot tonight, huh? Real conversation. Good evening, everybody. I'm Barbara Lesore Emmett, and I serve as the Vice President for Administrative Services at Hampton. And I am single, but in a relationship.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I have been married, divorced, but single now and in a relationship.
We're going to come back to this.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to start out by saying happy National Women's Day to the ladies here and out there. My name is Clyde Etter. I'm the Director for Intramural Sports, Assistant Director for Facilities here at Hampton University, and I am married.
So we're talking to the host. already know my introduction, but I am in a relationship. Yeah, I'm in a relationship. That's where I am. That is my status. I'll be completely transparent. We're in I guess at a fork in the road to see, are we gonna do the whole career? Let me go be awesome, or am I gonna take the next step or see what's gonna happen? So I'll say, I don't want to say a situationship because we really are serious, but I'm in a relationship.
All right. And for myself, I am Calvin Harris, Assistant Director of Student Activities. I am casually dating, kind of complicated, and current situation is coming to a close within the next couple of days.
Next couple of days. Timeline.
Back a step. So, like Emma, you said you are single, but in a relationship.
Yes, my marital status is single.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not married, and so I am single. I'm not married.
Okay.
I guess you kind of have that distinction when you become 40 plus.
Okay.
And so, just to kind of clarify that, so I am not married. I was married, but now I'm divorced and have been divorced for many years, 15 years. But I am in a relationship.
Okay. 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 Cause when I think about it, I was like, you're committed to one person.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's what I was saying when you say single, like, are you dating? But if you are in a relationship, that is where the commitment is. You're exclusive to this one person.
Yes.
Okay. I got you. When you said it first, threw me off, like, not as complicated as that. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's go back to your early years. Let's say in your 20s.
That's a long time.
Early 20s. We're all at different stages in our life. And let's talk about what it was like when you really had to fend for yourself and finding that balance. Were you successful at the balance, or was your mindset more focused on one, either being your career or finding a mate or dating?
Okay, I think it was more so for me for a career than finding a mate. Of course, you know, at the age, at that 20, excuse me, I was in the military, so I was traveling about, you know, just seeing the world. And so, you know, being committed wasn't first, because of course I grew up single parent, and so therefore the military was allowing me to have some travel on their dime. And so, you know, I don't want to say tied down, but looking for a relationship was not, you know, at the time an option. You know, I had been to Europe, spent 6 years over in Germany, had been from Washington State down to Florida. So it was just a good time for me to do traveling or be traveling on the government's dime. And so, you know, I really wasn't looking for a stable relationship. You know, I dated, but nothing serious.
I was all about my career. I was never one of those people who was like, oh, I have to be married by 25, have 2.5 kids. That just wasn't for me. But I knew in the early 20s, you know, I was very independent. I knew what I wanted, and I wanted to go for it, and no one was gonna get in my way at that point in time. And then got a little curveball thrown my way. But at that time, my mindset was focus on getting this education, getting this advanced degree, so you can pursue the goals, and then whatever else happens along the way in terms of a partner or a marriage or what have you, it'll come at some point. But my focus was totally on career and education and moving in that direction.
So early on, you went straight through undergrad, master's, doctorate. Was there ever a gap?
There was a gap for like 8 months, but even that was like working so I could pay to be in people's weddings or like happy hour, you know, like socializing, things of that nature. So it wasn't it was sort of picking up extra jobs and then, working 2 jobs at the time, quite honestly. So one was like in the field, and then the other one was just sort of a side job to be able to socialize, because that was also important to me, connecting with like girlfriends and, just having that freedom at that point in time, which was very, very important to me.
My 20s, I spent, I was married, became a mom, started a master's program, and so that was the gist of my 20s. And I worked full time. So I had to learn how to balance in my 20s because I decided to do all of that in my 20s. And I don't think any of it, quite frankly, for me was intentional. It just kind of happened. I never thought, okay, this is my focus, that I was going to focus on having a family and then career and that sort of thing. It just kind of happened, and so I just made the best of the situation.
So where does the balance come from? So we have 3 different dynamics. Okay. Where did you find balance? Would you say that you were successful at the balance back then, looking back? Because sometimes when we go through things in life, when we're in it, we are our worst critic. But now looking back, and you can really analyze because of what you've been through, can you say that you were successful but survived?
First of all, I want to say to you, you were juggling. You weren't balancing. You were juggling. Yes, ma'am, you were juggling. I don't think there's an even balance in any of it. It's just like a relationship. Sometimes, ideally we want it to be 50-50, but it's never like that. You have to go that 70-30 sometimes. And the same thing in life. Some things get put on the back burner because other things become more of a priority to you than what's those things right in front of you become more of a priority than those things seen down the road. And so sometimes you have to say, well, and it goes, sometimes you have to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. I have to do A, B, C, and D before I'm able to go any further. So I don't think when you say balance, I think that there's an even keel, but it isn't. It's always this, and we have to try to maybe slow the pendulum down so that the swing isn't so great, where that it's like this versus from one extreme to another. And that's what I see as far as balancing.
Yes. I think one of the challenges that I have, 41, about to be 42 in a couple of weeks. Early on, I think I was just living. You ever been in that state where you're just living? You know what I'm saying? And we've talked about this in previous episodes where dating became a novelty for me. It was just like something to do. Did I make good decisions? No. But that took my focus because I could have been so much more if I had focused more on my career versus attention from other things. So I never really had like a plan. So then when we hear somebody come from the aspect of career, success, education, somebody who was living, and just things were just happening, but she was handling it. I'm thinking about, when I think about my own life, I don't know if I had clear balance because I got stressed. I'm the type of person that if I get overwhelmed, I just shut down. Like I need everybody to back away and let me figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's hard sometimes because the people that I shunned away could have really been a great support system. Because now, later in life, I look for my friends to be my support. Because I can do great things, but I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? So people always see greater in me than I see in myself or focus on it. And so when people are supporting me, it's like I don't feel it as much because I'm just like, what are y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? So that drive and ambition in life is just, it's never really been in me because I think I've always just lived. I roll with the punches, you get over it. But
so I know I'm not the moderator, but I have a question. So have you changed from that? Because you said, it sounds like this is a past tense, that you lived back then.
Yeah.
And
I think the change is there because now I'm realizing that my life is at a certain place.
Okay.
I've done it by myself, and now it's like when I want somebody to be in my inner circle intimately, to be able to maintain still my identity. So it's like you say when you want to grow old with somebody, it's like right now I'm at the mindset I just want to be with somebody. But this person has to be of a certain level. Now, not of a certain class, but of a certain level to be able to really accept me. Because if we're talking relationship-wise, I move a lot. I do a lot of things. I'm all over the place.
Yes.
So I want somebody that's able to still be able to support as well as be supported and not take offense when we're apart.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. And I think early on in life, I didn't have that. I think early on in life, when you are growing and you're dating, everybody's just striving. So it's like if we hook up, we hook up. If we don't, we don't. But nobody's thinking long term. So now later in life, we start to think about it. Like Megan, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
So you know, like Megan, we had this conversation. So Megan is somebody that is a power female. Like she is now looking for that next level. She's done a relationship. She's been in a relationship. So now, at this next stage of pursuing more education, it becomes a conflict now in your relationship, right?
I mean, that's what I was about to say. Wait a minute. Just put me on the spot. No, honestly, I will say this, and this is something that I know about myself. Once I put something, like my mind is engaged and I know this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to go. Even with going to college, I knew where I was going to go to school for undergrad. And it's a pattern, I know, that's what people say. But it's a pattern to the point where, all right, senior year in high school, I know where I want to go to school. I know why I want to go to school there. I know what I'm going to study. I'm going to go. This is the plan. High school sweetheart, we've been together the entire time. Okay? One boyfriend, oh my gosh, he's great. He's a year older than me, graduates. The plan was, next year when I graduate, I am going to the University of Florida. This is where I want to go to school. He's going to the military. And he's like, okay, well, I'll get stationed in Pensacola. I'll put in my orders for there. Then we'll be in Florida. All right. Since he was a year older than me, changes the plan. You deviated from the plan. We've been talking about this. And he's like, well, I want to be able to take you to prom and go do this, that, and the third. So I'm going to get stationed at Bowling in in D.C., Maryland area. Okay. So I graduate. You didn't get to take me to prom because you had duty, right? So you didn't get to come to my graduation because you had duty.
Wow.
Right? Okay. I graduate. Oh, well, maybe you should just stay and go to University of Maryland. No, I told you where I was going to go to school. This is what I was going to do. This is how it was going to go. And I'm not going to alter my plan because of it. All right. Fast forward. Same thing going on literally right now. All right. A lot of people don't know, but I've started a PhD program. This is what happens. I'm in school. I work full time. I'm in school full time. This is what I was going to do. Now, in the event that I have to move or go somewhere because of school, it's like, yeah, we're together. But this is what I told you what I was going to do. You said you were supportive. You wanted to be with me, and you say you're supportive. But now if something happens, I'm not going to deviate from the plan just because you don't want to stick to the plan. And I've always been like that. And so I guess it's to the point where you're like asking yourself, is that okay for me to not deviate from my plan just because you're not getting on the bandwagon? Or am I supposed to sacrifice my career, my drive just to be with somebody? So that's something that I always toy with. But then I'm also too like, well, what are we doing? If we've been together, it'll be 5 years in May. If we've been together for 5 years, like, look, you know whether or not you want to be with me. And if you don't, that's fine. But let me keep going. But you're not going to hold me back. Because at the end of the day, them coins.
Right, but
I'm
see
just
now,
saying. Realistically.
I understand realistically. But now we get to the point where we have to make that decision. So we have the military out there, working, dating, relationships. There's spectrums on this side. Did you ever have to choose love over career or family over career, or vice versa? Early on. Because we got to help.
Yeah. Realistically, I'm like, am I wrong?
At Hampton University, please understand this. We want you to be a part of the conversation. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but you are free to enter all your questions and comments into the panel and join the discussion, because we do want to hear from you all as well. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about that compromise, that struggle within yourself of, I got to choose my man or my woman over what you really want in life, and how hard it is to, if you've ever had to walk away from something. Because I've been there. I feel as though I have walked away from the love of my life. Just me being naive, always wanting to provide for my family. You know, I have a small family. Family is my first pride, but I do feel as though a few years ago I made a decision to kind of brush somebody off that could have been the one. So
Because of you chose career?
I chose family.
Okay.
I chose family. I was surviving, but I just felt like family needed me to be the backbone to some things that's going on. So yeah, there's no love. We're cool, but looking back at this person, like, yeah, that could have been the one.
Right. And I think if that person is the one, then that person will resurface. I really do. And I'll share that I'm in a relationship with someone who I knew in high school. But we were friends, and we've been friends since high school. You know, he was known as so-and-so's boyfriend, and we were friends. We would say hi, you know, we would see each other in high school, and also over the years, both of us have been in relationships, and out of the blue, we were hanging out casually just for drinks one Christmas holiday. And that's what we did. You know, we would go have drinks, so have dinner as friends, strictly friends. But this one particular time when we hung out, we just looked at each other differently. I don't know what happened. Nothing happened, but we just looked at each other in a different way. And then we started dating, and our relationship evolved. But I never thought in my wildest dreams, that I would be in a relationship with this man. Yeah, I never thought in my wildest
Same circle of friends?
Same circle of friends.
And kept in contact all these years?
And very
Somewhat.
casual.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, when we would see
Right.
each other at our
Homecoming or
mutual
whatever.
friends' activities or, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
events. You know, and it would be, you know, hi, and
Right.
he would be in a relationship, and it was straight friends, and we would talk very friendly, periodically, but never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be in a relationship with him. And so I think that if it's meant to be, it will be. It will be.
Okay.
So, do you feel that your relationship is stronger because you guys were friends first?
Absolutely.
'Cause
Absolutely.
No
I think
skeletons.
No skeletons. And I feel like you have to like the person
Right.
that you fall in love with.
Yes.
You have to
Yes.
like the person who you think you may want to spend the rest of your life with. You can love and all that fuzzy and butterflies and all of that is wonderful and great, and I still feel them. But you have to genuinely like the person. Like, I genuinely like hanging out with him. I genuinely like his company. And I think that's so important. I think it's important to be friends.
Okay. I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the right person will help you create that balance. So, I mean, I know my husband and I, we had a come to Jesus moment very early on when I started my PhD program, and it was the first semester, and he was like, look, it wasn't an ultimatum, but it was like, you've got to get some balance. And I was like, what do you mean? This is what I'm meant to do. But that was the first time that me was worth it to even contemplate that, right? And so then I had to say, well, look, this program is important, but it's not worth losing this person. At the time, I mean, we weren't married, but I knew enough to know, like, this could be something, right? Something more than just like, all right, go on your way. And so I think that right person, when they come along, they're going to help you sort of flourish towards whether it's, a job, whether it's an advanced degree, whether it's graduate school, they're going to help support you in that, right? So that they help you create that balance. Because all of us get out of line, and we need that support. And so that right person will be there for you to help give you that balance. So they'll push you to say, okay, like, shouldn't you be studying instead of on social media, right? Or like, hey, like, you've been studying all night, like, maybe we need to just go out and have dinner or have drinks or what have you. And so they'll help you create that balance.
So keep hope alive. That's what she
Yeah.
said.
So let's move forward. Done your college, done your grown. Let's talk children in life. What was your age of having your first child?
I was in my 20s. So, yes, early. And of course, we go back to that balance again, the scales start to tip this way a little bit, because for me, I had to realize that I had to be the most, he had to be, it was a son, had to be the most important thing in my life at that time coming along. And so I knew I had to change some of the things that I was doing in order to be around to give him a start, because of course we're looking at a young black male that's getting ready, that has come into this world who has those challenges already. And so I knew I had to give him that start. And so giving him that start, I had to be around. And so again, I started changing a lot of my ways. Let's say I was, driving probably when I should not have been, and driving, speeding, and just hanging out. And so I knew I had to start picking and choosing my friends. Who was there for me to say, you know what, hey, that's enough. You need to go home. Put your keys here. Let me drive you home. Let me call and get you some way home, or here, you're gonna crash here tonight. And so, I really had to start looking and changing my ways. I used to smoke cigarettes. Stop. I had to. Not for me, but for him. And then I have a wife too. So it would have been very selfish for me to allow her to raise our child by herself because of my choices.
So at that time, career-wise, you were able to provide
Yes.
for your house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Age group, age range for your first child.
That was in my 20s.
Okay. Because you were education first. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at it now, you survived. Okay.
I think so.
You found
Right.
something.
We all still
So
making
now let's think
it.
about it, because you got married, so you were there in that union. Okay. Has there ever been a point, because sometimes as a man, and you might be able to tell this, you found a relationship now, somebody that knew you first. Has it ever been hard to date being Dr. Black female?
Yes, absolutely.
So you
Yes.
do feel as though you are intimidating to men?
I don't think that I'm intimidating to men. I do think that there are some men who have been intimidated because of this persona, or because I may have another degree. But I try to present that I'm very likable. I only am doctor when I'm at work, but after 6, 7 o'clock, I'm Barbara. And but I do think that has intimidated and halted my my dating scene. Absolutely,
Okay.
it did. Yes.
But I think sometimes we have to look at salaries, because with doctor, people assume money. Okay.
Good
so for a
assumption.
man, you can date. Would you date a woman that made more money than you?
Currently, I am. I'm married to a woman.
Okay.
You know, go ahead. I'll come
And
back.
that's a sign of your maturity, your ability to look beyond income. And I was looking at a podcast or something,
Yes, ma'am.
and there was a discussion about this, and there was a young woman who focused on that was her priority. She wanted to date a man who was at her income level, and for me, that just was a testimony to where she was in her life. If that's your bag, that's fine. My experience is that there's more to life, and that should not necessarily be a priority. Now, you're gonna need money. You're gonna need money to eat and survive and live and that sort of thing. But to use that as like the number one criteria for choosing a mate, I don't think that that's gonna be productive. I think that you're gonna have to look at more things in order to be in a fulfilling, substantial relationship.
I think you're absolutely correct, and I think that ties into what Dr. Norwood said, that finding someone and being able to help them and raise them. Today they from rags to riches. So it goes back to, and I believe that also that certainly lowers the field of choices. When you're out there dating, and so for me, it wasn't a intimidating factor, because of course, if I did that, I would probably be single somewhere. But no, it's so yeah. No, I have no. My wife told me not to say too much. No, I'm kidding.
So, Dr. Norwood, for yourself being married, as your career changed, did money or your success become an issue within your relationship?
We were both, well, in the beginning, I was a poor graduate student, and so he was making money. But I think we came from two different schools of thought. So being raised in the Northeast, it was very much education and continue forward in that direction. He was raised in the Mid-South, and so it was very much about values of working hard. And so, we had to kind of have some different conversations about, the different values. Because I was like, well, maybe you could go to school. And he was like, I'm making more money than you. You are so right now. And so, there were points where I think, he was making more than I was, and vice versa. Now we're kind of around the same range, but I think it's about, and I don't want to speak for men, but I think it's about being comfortable where you are. So when you go meet people, you're not like, hey, I'm Dr. Christie and I'm a psychologist and this is how much I make,
Right.
And I'm just Christie and this is what I'm doing, right? When I met him, it just happened to come out, but that wasn't the first thing, like I'm on my road to getting my master's degree or what have you. Like there were plenty of other things that we were able to talk about. And so money is nice, right? The jewelry, the cars, but that's not going to sustain a relationship alone.
Right.
It's really not, and it fades quickly.
So it's so hard though, because I think as we are growing, I will say and I've talked about this before. So for myself, I'm someone who, I'm not gonna say I attract the wrong person, or the opposite. I attract what I attract. I attract what I see out. Okay, but then when people meet me, I don't have a doctorate. I don't have a doctorate, but I do have a master's or whatever. So the person that I attract probably has never been to college or ever thought about college. Okay, so first that's always a barrier because now I'm the educator. Okay,
Barrier
so
on
now
who's in, yours or theirs?
it becomes a conflict because people sometimes will put more emphasis on the things that you have versus you. I don't think about it. When I wake up, I don't think about it. Like I still go to work every day. I still got to pay bills and the next
Right.
So you don't think about those things that we have acquired over our life or whatever. So now, fast forward, situation happens where I am able to elevate myself from one level of living to the next, and maintain very well. So now that I'm attracting the same person, the struggle is there because once they come into my world, the assumption is that I have X, Y, and Z, but they don't understand the backstory on how I got X, Y, and Z. Did it hit the lotto? You know what I'm saying? Just life happened, and I used what was given to me to my benefit. But I still have the struggles. I still have to pay a mortgage, car note. I still have the same things, but now it becomes in current situation, it becomes a balance on can they provide for me even when I've never asked for anything. You know what I'm saying? So that's when we have to get to that communication point where with the communication that we have this conversation once, 2 times, 3 times, and somebody is not clicking or something's not clicking, it's now time to walk away. You know what I'm saying? No love lost. But that is where the struggle of growing up and dating and finding that balance in your work career and everything is, because on a normal year, unfortunately right now we're in the pandemic. We all work here in Hampton. Our schedule seems to be pretty calm right now. But one day we will get back into our old routine of no longer Monday through Friday. Could get a call in the middle of the night. Have to be somewhere on Saturdays. You know, wake up and be on the yard 6 in the morning for an event that don't start until 11. Like, you know what I'm saying? Will somebody be able to accept that word? So now we have to look at where is the balance? How do I find balance? How do you all find balance in the differences of your career versus your relationship?
Again, I go back to it. I don't think there's when you say balance, I don't want people to think that it's 50-50, you know? And so it's having that significant other who understands. And that's the important part of understanding it. Thanks to this lady here, I had been here in Hampton for several years, and I was working second shift. She gave me the opportunity or promoted me to the position of director for intramural sports, which entailed mainly day shift. And so, having been with my wife at that time, we were together, backing up a little bit. We've been together now for 17 years, 10 years of marriage. And so we had about 6 or 7 years where that I was working, like I said, evening shifts, and then of course working on day shift and going to day shift. It took some getting used to. Again, is having that understanding to be able to say now, again, I'm having to change some of the things that I do. You know, of course, we have a child as well, you know, so I go from single, working evenings to married with a child. And so it was, you know, the understanding. I understood where I was at, where I'm at the time, you know, and so it was an adjustment, and we had some highs and we had some lows. But, you know, we survived it. You know, again, like I said, we just celebrated 10 years in February, you know, so as a husband and wife. So there's no, I don't think, again, it's trying to slow that pendulum down, you know, from not one extreme to another.
And I will say, you said something very, you know, it just stuck with me. The fact that it's like, okay, what am I willing to deal with, and who's compromising and working and adjusting together? And so with that, I will say, like, even in my situation, because my schedule is crazy, or I may not go to bed right on time, I could be up still doing something at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then turn around and have to get up at 5 o'clock. But that's the good part about our relationship. Yeah, we don't know where we are. We're rocky, trying to figure stuff out. But at the end of the day, we still have a really good time together. We still have fun. And that's my friend. Like, legit, it could be anytime. I could blast music and have the cul-de-sac jumping at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he's just right there. You know what I'm saying? With me, not like, oh, Megan, be quiet. Go to bed. No, like, if we're going to have it jumping, we'll have it jumping. We had our own party, just us, on Friday, you know. I know our neighbors like, can y'all be quiet? We're like, no, I going to be able to find somebody that is still going to have that same energy and keep that same energy with me, you know? And that bothers me.
All right. So we do have a question from the audience. The question is, what are some characteristics of a healthy relationship that each couple should have as you get into it?
I think, of course, one is understanding it. I think communication brings about understanding. Because if you're communicating and say, honey, I have to work, there's no surprises. And so with that communication comes understanding. So that's certainly paramount. Certainly.
Trust and honesty.
Yes,
And like you said, communication.
yes, ma'am, absolutely.
If you can't trust someone, how can you be in a relationship? If you can't be honest, that means you can't be true, you can't be transparent.
Yes.
So trust and honesty, definitely. I add those two.
Yeah, I would agree with all of those. I would also say you have to do things together. Because it's very easy to be in a relationship and you're not necessarily connected, right? You're going out with your girlfriends, he's going out with his guys, and you're just kind of existing, like we text here and there. And so you really have to find time to have parties or, you know, whatever.
Right. We are each other's friends.
Because before you know it, like you might be 21 and then you're 23 and you're like, what do you like? Or I don't even like you anymore, right? You know, and so you have to continue to do things together, even things outside of the box to continue to stay connected.
Okay. So what is everyone's release? When pressure gets on your shoulders from life, what is your release or escape?
Me speaking, I like to maybe go have a spa day, just a day to kind of be with myself, and do some self-care. So I think that helps.
Okay.
I mean, watching kind of ratchet TV sometimes. I don't want to think about psychology. I don't want to think about mental health. I don't want to think about him. You know, I just want to be able to be. My husband is very helpful. I talk more than he talks back, but that's just it works. It's fine. So that's helpful. Traveling before the pandemic was very helpful. Just like being away from Virginia, and then prayer, because that keeps people alive around you when they do things that are not so great. So that helps me a lot, and just support. Like sometimes people get in relationships, and that's the only person they have. And so I'm a firm believer that you really need to have other relationships, whether it's family, whether it's friendships, whether it's people from high school. You need to have some other relationships to balance that out. Because if that relationship doesn't work, then what? You're left in this atrium by yourself, right?
I guess my turn. My zen is the water. Whether it's fishing or just being there, just God's blessing. It's so calming, for me. And so, just anything dealing with water.
Well, pre-COVID, I would definitely hop on an airplane and go somewhere real quick. But honestly, I just like sleep. That is my thing. Anytime I feel overwhelmed, I'm like, let me just go take a nap and I'll regroup and deal with it after I wake up. And I feel better. So it's like, okay. It's like you forget about it when you're asleep.
Yeah. I said that. I think.
And you?
I love washing cars. I think washing cars to me is like.
That's water.
I would wash
Right.
I would wash a car like it could be 100 degrees. Washing the car is like that moment where you just put the music on and you just like tune the water as your focus is there. But I think periodically here lately, I have like the effort days. Like if I don't want to, I just don't want to do nothing all day. Whether it's watching, just be in the house, just looking crazy, just shutting the world off and not. Sometimes you look at the phone and be like, yeah, no. Because some people only call you when they need things on their side. So I think that's those days that just to sit behind closed doors and just do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think those are where we're at when we have the release. So now we have to get into the misconceptions of the resources. A lot of, and this was will be done toward Dr. Norwood, because at Hampton University we do have a great counseling department.
What'd you say?
Counseling
Counseling
department.
center?
Yeah,
I just wanna
counseling
hear it
center.
again. One more time for the people in the back.
Led by you. And I think one of the misconceptions that people that need counseling or seek counseling are only looking for mental issues.
Yeah.
But our resources are the resources that we have available to the young man or woman that is having relationship issues, that's having issues battling with stress.
Yeah.
If you could just elaborate on what resources we have to our students or the community.
Yeah, I mean, we have several therapists, different styles, different types of individuals. So we do individual therapy where you can talk kind of one-on-one with a therapist. You can talk about grief, relationship issues. I hate my professor. I want to come back to campus, whatever's kind of going on with you. And then we also have groups. So to your point, we just started a group called Difficult Dialogues because it is hard to navigate, what we hear from students, some of these situationships. How do I have difficult conversations with some members of my friend group? And so, we have lots of different services. We just started a group for LGBTQIA+ students. And so sometimes students feel like they're alone. They're the only one going through it. Everybody else is fine in the pandemic. They're doing good. And so it can be helpful just to have a person who is not going to tell your business, right? They're not going to go talk about you to their friends. If they see you on campus, I don't even have to acknowledge you. You can pretend we don't even know each other, And so there's safety in that. And sometimes people wait until there's a crisis, to say I need help. And so one of the messages I would like to say is you don't have to be in crisis. It doesn't have to be, a snowstorm. You can come and say, I just want to check in and make sure, I'm sleeping okay, I'm eating okay, my mom's getting on my nerves, whatever's going on. And so, and then we try to make mental health fun, just kind of as you're talking about, we do some outreach events. We brought Michael Rainey here virtually, Amanda Steele's here virtually. And so we try to do some of those things to talk about mental health in a way where we can kind of normalize it, and it doesn't have to be sort of this dismal conversation.
Yeah, and see, that is what our goal is now, is to normalize the conversation.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we are stuck behind our phones, social media, and we now need to realize that perception is not always reality.
Absolutely.
And then how we learn things is by having authentic communication just like this, because now through this, you have given yourself to the world. And the world is now feeding off of you. Now they can pay it forward and, give themselves to the world. So that's why these conversations are always great. So now as we move forward and we close out for the evening, if you can tell the Hampton student one piece of advice about their current growing pains, what would it be?
I would say, I'm going to start.
Learn to think about what is that advice that we would give them, because everybody's going through something different, and even though we might have different ministries in life, but understand that that piece of advice could help somebody.
Well, I'll start it off. I want to say, because of the challenges that I have experienced in my life, that to let you know that though it may seem, it doesn't last forever. And just like Dr. Norwood and everyone who has alluded to that, there are people out there that really care about you. There are people out there that really genuinely would like to help you to get through this. And so, but certainly it doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but certainly there is.
My initial thought is, and this too shall pass. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be sitting here having a blue table talk as a leader at Hampton University. In my 20s, I had my ideas of what I thought my career was going to look like, what my life was going to look like. And as Clyde alluded to, there are ebbs and flows, ups and downs, good times, bad times. And this too shall pass. And also my mother would say, keep on living.
Yes.
And only, about 6 or 7 years ago did I really understand and grasp what she was saying.
Yes.
And what that really meant. And so I offer that to you and keep on living.
Sorry, I was like in church rocking. I'm back now. I would say just make sure that what you choose to do is based on not the social constructs, not based on social media, not based on what mom and grandmama did. Like just because they got married at 21 or maybe they got married at 50, like you can follow and chart your own course based on what's important to you. And now with social media, you can chart your own course based on what's important to you. So that person that looks amazing in that selfie took that picture 50 times, before they finally uploaded it. Yeah. Step out.
You do.
You don't So it's really your journey, and being at Hampton is such a blessing because part of being here is to be able to chart that journey and to figure out, what the best course is for you. And so I would say be comfortable in the mistakes that you're going to make. Try not to make the mistakes that are going to completely ruin your life. And be smart in the decisions that you make and in what you post. And don't be afraid to chart your own territory.
I would honestly just say, we don't have it figured out.
No.
Clearly, we still have, everybody has their own things. And I always like to, and I have to remind myself all the time, we are perfect only at being imperfect. So, although, yes, I strive for perfection every day, but the only thing that I've perfected is being imperfect. So, we don't have it all together. And that's okay. And that's how I look at it. It's okay. Just be you.
And Mr. Harris?
I often tell students, friends, and everybody around, the thing that I've learned over the years that kept me going is embrace the moment. When you are in that moment, you have to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, learn how to laugh, cry, be angry. But just embracing the moment always helps me get through things because when you're in it, you don't understand it, but when you take time to understand it, you can get through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we embrace the moment, anything is possible to move forward and get things done. Because oftentimes, we don't examine life. We go through life and live it, but we really don't examine it. And people say spiritually you're not supposed to question God. It's not about questioning anything when you're looking at your own life, but looking at situations. You know what I'm saying? Like this too shall pass, but understand what is passing. You know what I'm saying? So that is where it becomes a really good breaking point for you to be able to move forward because we have to break through something to get through it. So I think with everybody, all of these little pieces of advice, I did write them down. We're going to post these on our social media platforms. As well as like daily encouragement, because a lot of times people need those life affirmations.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what I was going to do. Right. And I was going to do a shameless plug for the health center.
We all got.
Sorry. But on Wednesday, we do have Wellness Wednesday, but we are going to launch the anonymous outlet. So it will be a way for you guys to just write a note and stick it. So it's completely anonymous. You'll be able to put it on a virtual bulletin board. And it's just literally an anonymous outlet. And it's a place to release. And just like we had a judgment-free zone here, that it's a judgment-free space. Like I always tell you guys, I'm always an open book. You can ask me about anything. We'll say our doors are open even even though the health center doors are locked. But you can call us anytime. But literally, just having that outlet and a way to if you want to do self-affirmation, just anything, it's there. We're still here with you, even though we're not here with you.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. But that's my shameless plug for HUHC.
So, Dr. Noble, you have mentioned upcoming events for your department. The student affairs have any, well, we all are student affairs. So I will say for the Office of Student Activities, as well as with the Greer Dawson Wilson Leadership Program, we have a lot of things in store. This will not be the end Hampton University. This is something with the well wishes of our administration we're going to carry forward. Even when the gates open back up to your home by the sea, we're going to look for this conversation. So we would like to hear from you. Please reach out to us on our Instagram page of HU Student Activities or the Greer Dawson Wilson Student Leadership page, and any ideas that we have. Next month, we are going to be looking a little bit more into learning about having healthy friendships. Today, this was a no judgment zone, talking about the life pains of being in a relationship. But now we're going to go back, flip it a little bit and go to the basis of realizing what a healthy friendship is, what a friend group is, learning how to walk away from friends without it being any tension or beef, so that you can reconnect later on in life or network with those things, as well as we do have something for the LGBTQ plus I community, and learning pronouns and things like that, because some students have reached out, so maybe we can collab on that part, because that is where we want. The no judgment zone is the new tone for a safe space. We're not here to target, we're not here to judge. We all come to this home by the sea by different avenues. So once we get here, we need to love on each other, not only virtually, but in person when we return and get to really know each other strong. So if you all have any questions, concerns, please take time to reach out to us. Visit Hampton University at hamptonu.edu. All of our departments are listed there. Contact leads and emails are there as well. And like I said, follow us on Instagram.
We have one more thing.
Oh, we got one more thing. Sorry.
One more. Mr. Harris, what do we have going on next week?
Oh, yes. Yes.
What do we have?
We will release this probably tomorrow, if not Wednesday. But next week is Train with a Purpose Week.
Yes.
This is a week where we're going to talk about healthy living, what you are eating, fitness, doing yoga for mind, body, and soul. We have reached out to some great people who are supporting this project. Scorpio Brown is a Hamptonian. He was here on the football team. He has ACE-1 training, so he's going to do a fitness program on that date. Another young lady, Alex Hill, who is a chef in Atlanta, she's going to do an evening cook session for the students, learning how to cook weekend ramen noodles, like spice it up. So it's going to be it's a fancy term. That's called weeknight noodles, but she's really popping out. We do follow her on Instagram. Her Instagram is just add a little hot sauce. So then we have
The walk. We have the walk on Friday.
what's Mrs. Miles is going to do
Miles.
Khalil
Yeah,
Miles.
she's
Right.
also-
I'm sorry, she's doing yoga. So normally,
She's not
under the
coming.
direction of Mr. Eder, we do
Yeah.
naturally have yoga virtually every Wednesday.
And Zoom on Thursday.
Zoom on Thursday, yes.
And it's
Virtually during the day, but she is willing to volunteer her services as well. And we're going to do a 7 p.m. yoga session. But on Friday, we're going to close this out with a get up and move session. Here at Hampton University, our faculty and staff are asked to come out and just spend the day together, socially distancing, doing a little bit of fitness. We will march through the yard with some music and some giveaways, but we want you to participate as well. We will be hosting it live on IG Live, and all we're asking is for people just to walk. Get out and move. Use your mobility skills so that, get out in the public, breathe
Don't
some
forget
air,
the
even with a
prizes.
face mask.
Don't
Yes.
forget the
Oh, yeah.
prizes for them.
So the health center has come, and we have great prizes through participation through next week.
Right.
It is Monday through Friday at the different events. We have great gift cards to send out to all of the students that participate. randomly. We have
Swag
swag bags that we're mailing out.
Right.
But this,
Yes.
but this is a chance for us to really connect with you and really think about living healthy.
Yes.
As we have survived a year now, as of last week,
Yes.
it's been 1 year since
I know.
we departed. We learned to survive through this unfortunate pandemic, but now we're talking about full holistic wellness.
Yes.
You know, your relationships, friendships, but now we need to think about our health. So as always, anyone out there, we would ask you all to please contact your local health department, figure out where you can get COVID tested if you have not. Make sure that's a regular thing. If you can get unvaccinated, please contact most CVS's, Walgreens, city health departments. They have the answers and resources for you to get vaccinated. But most of all, continue to wear your mask and protect yourself. I know we are all sitting here in this environment now, but we have all taken the precautions before getting here. And once the camera's off, we will go back to protecting ourselves with our mask forward. So just remember, Hampton University, as we close out, we miss you.
We do.
You know what I'm saying? We are look forward to later on in 2021 having you back here.
We are.
For great programming.
Summer school.
Summer school, yes.
Summer
It might be some little changes, but the tradition and culture of Hampton, we are going to make sure from the Office of Student Activities and Student Affairs that we are providing you a sense of normalcy. We're going to get back to one day, you know, shucking and jiving and grooving on this campus. But so as of now, as we close out, I would like to thank all of our panelists for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Just to have this conversation and get to know all of you outside of our personal life. And look forward to much more success in the future. All right, Hampton University, thank you so much for tuning in. We miss you and stay in touch.
Hampton Hub.